Might as well, you know.
Graphic info tools on TGIHE data list equipment.
Hmm?
On your notification.
What did it say? I spelled something wrong. I'm looking so far from the screen I can't see it.
On the which one?
I don't know what you're talking about. What's your YouTube name?
Brand Markey.
Spell it. BRAND.
Yeah, BRAND, then uppercase M, then lowercase a on the K1.
Not finding it.
Try at Brand Markey 9142. I don't think it matters if it's uppercase. I did chat here.
Yeah, let me see if I can do it that way. Me. Add as a moderator. You're managing. All right. Can you check and see how I sound over YouTube real quick?
It's really slow.
It's delayed.
I think you're good though.
Okay. All right, and then Twitch is running it too, it looks like. So, yeah, just let me know. Okay, I see that now.
Yeah, audio is awesome this time compared to last time.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was the encoding.
Are you using the wireless mic still?
Yeah, still running live.
Okay.
Yeah, let me.
But you're using the rechargeable Rode.
Yeah, I'm about to plug in my Rode real quick so we don't lose it halfway through the strain. Because I have had it on for the last 45 minutes. So now I'll be charging while I'm talking to you. All right. Let me grab some of this new hardware as well. We're gonna go over the new metal parts as well.
Okay. Like
The new metal plates and stuff.
like
Cross beams and standard Daedalus stuff. Or are you trying to make a joke?
I'm trying to make a joke.
Oh.
Like high finger death parts.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. I don't even think they're considered metal, are they?
I should say metallic, right? That's metal.
Metal? You mean Paramore?
Did I send you
Going
that TikTok?
Nah.
Was it Black? Who was it? Who's the Black Bear? The Charlotte, right? No, but I sent you the TikTok of the Charlotte, right?
Probably. I'll have to look.
All playing D&D.
Oh, yeah.
A bunch of nerds.
All right, we are live. See if anybody's talking yet. Nope. All right. So, today we're going to kind of go over the sneak peek of what we're showing at MRRF, along with what has been updated on the Daedalus already. So all the Daedaluses like starting actually at the beginning of last month, got a bunch of new metal parts. We switched up who's machining our parts. We got a crazy amount of quality bumps in our machining. So we had some issues in the past where we would have to either return or just try to fix them ourselves, where we would get machining marks that are zoomy zoom. It may seem nitpicky, but you would get this. There we go. You get these lines where they would mill one side, flip it over, and mill the other. But you get these lines here. Well, the problem is you'd also get it on these base plates here. And when you're trying to make faces up, it would cause it to tilt. They wouldn't be able to stay true what we needed. So we had problems with these, and one of the biggest problems we had were with our yokes. These are from our old machinists. What would happen is you could see. Oh, there we go. Really? It's cutting out again? That makes no sense, dude.
Where'd it go?
Just now, for me. But you can see this line right here where they would, they'd try to surface it back down, but half the time they miss that mark, and that's got to mate to the linear rail. So like if this was a linear rail for Z, granted this is X, right? But when you put that on here, then you'd have it tilted out one way or the other. It wouldn't set flush. So we were having issues with that, and we had to have some of them fixed. We've had to fix them ourselves a handful of times. Then we had a bunch of acrylic from the same supplier that was oversized. So we just decided that we could no longer keep doing that. So we ended up working with a new machine shop, and it's been awesome. So when we did the big transition to the new machine shop, we took the opportunity to change some metal parts. So the new metal parts, this is one of the biggest changes, is our stepper motor mounts. And before, you'd have 3 pins where it would go up. It's just this one camera, dude. That's doing it. You'd have 3 pins come up, and the center one would have 2 idlers that would come back and go around our pulleys. What we did now is, like, you wouldn't have a crazy amount of contact. You'd have about 50% contact around the entire pulley. This way we're getting a lot more by we're separating out this middle pin and moving it out towards the outside pins. We also brought the outside pins in quite a bit as well. So we're getting a much more active contact with our pulley from our belts on X and Y. So like this is our, these are our closed loop stepper motors. So you have your stepper motor going down to here, and then we have an encoder down here. It's a quadrature encoder. So one thing is we go from this to these. So these are our closed loop driver boards. So here with this one you have CAN. These two are your CAN. You'll have an in and an out. It doesn't really matter which one you plug it into, which is nice. So you'll have this go out to your main board, or at least daisy chain down the line of your main board. And this can daisy chain out to more boards. Believe the limit is like 52 boards. I can't remember, but I believe on Duet it's like 52. So yeah, so you'll have, that's what these are. There's your power. You have to provide power to this. So you'll have 24 volt, or now 48 volt is possible on this and the main board. Then you have a brake system, which we do not use the brake system currently. But with a bigger machine and stuff like that, like the printer we're building for making things like carbon fiber molds and layups for automotive parts, we'll probably be using a brake. Then you have your normal stepper motor plug, like on a standard Duet 3 board. Uses the same stepper motor plug. And then right here is for your quadrature. This is the pin we use. But now Duets actually has these little magnetic encoders that you can glue onto the back of what would be like a standard stepper motor. And it would glue on the back, or the magnet would glue on the back of the shaft. And you can bolt on the board onto the back. So you can make any stepper motor you have in the closed loop. And what they're doing is they're sending it back to this pin here. This, I believe it's a 10 pin. It kind of looks like your old, 128, 64 display pin plugs. One of those. So you'll have a ribbon cable coming back off of it. And that's what that plugs into. But yeah, so this is what we use for these. Your encoder would plug in here. Oh, there we go. I'm bringing in the shot here. We're just going to keep teasing this thing for a little bit. And then your stepper motor. We use a jumper for our stepper motors because, and this is an important thing. If you're using or getting a printer from somebody, or you're making a printer that has a Duet 3 board in it and they're using a NEMA 17 motor, the plug on the Duet requires a minimum of a 20 gauge wire. So we use a 20 gauge here, but a NEMA 17 doesn't come with 20 gauge. The plugs that come standard on them, they don't work. You have to go 22 or lower. So what we do is we have this jumper made, and then it goes down. This is soldered into a Molex KK. These are Molex KKs. And that's how we do our motors. So that we can use the Duet 3s and get all the power we want from the 3s. But since we're on the current Daedalus and the Apollos, we're using NEMA 17s right now. Our bigger machines coming soon that we've been working on will be using probably NEMA 23s. And those will use the higher wire gauge, so we wouldn't have to use this jumper system. But as of right now, that's what we need. But we need the I/O on the Duets, the full-size Duet 3s for the Daedalus. Not so much the Apollo, because the Apollo right now is using the Duet 3 Mini. And the Mini itself uses the standard Molex KK crimp. So this is one of our things that we are getting done differently by the new machinist. This is 6061. We're getting, these are a little bit thicker than before. Before it was 5 mil thick. Now they're a 1/4 inch, so 6.35 mil thick now. Doesn't change anything, everybody. If anybody ever needs like a warranty or something like that, moving forward they'll be getting this cross brace, and it's not going to change anything. All of the fan shrouds and stuff like that, everything we have that routes under the X will work with these. Nothing really changed on that end. And of course, everything else is kind of the same. We didn't do anything crazy for changing it. But let me see if I have a yoke over here. I do not. So our yokes are now made with no ridge any longer. So we're not having that problem anymore, which is nice. It makes a big difference at the end of the day, because now we're getting actually it fit up perfect. We don't have to do any work. We don't have to clean it up, which we've had problems with in the past. Also, the nice thing about this new machine shop is they give us an inspection report on everything. So we knew that these were going to be flat. We knew all the holes were tapped. We did have one issue with one part, and that was this. This is the big difference. Is now we no longer, before we would get this line right along here. Let's zoom in. Right along here. So it would cause this part that would bolt on to teeter-totter, or just kink out one way or the other, right? And we'd have it on the front as well. Well, now we would have to clean that up. Now we don't have that problem. And they did send us one part that didn't have these back 2 holes tapped and drilled. And before, when that was a problem, we would have to wait 3 to 4 weeks. Nice thing about this new machine shop is it's helping us keep up quicker because first off, our lead times are lower, and they overmake. So they made a handful of extra of these parts, of every part we have, and if we contact them and say, hey, there's an issue, they send it out right away. So we had one part with an issue. They sent us out 2 replacement parts that were correct, and they got here within 3 days. So it makes a big difference. And then they give you things like this, which is your inspection reports, which we weren't getting before. The previous place didn't really have an inspection shop. Now this place does. So you get things like just a whole pad of paper full of inspections. So moving forward, we'll have higher quality metal parts. We were just real nitpicky. Before, the metal parts were mostly fine, but we were picky with a lot of the things on it. So moving forward, it's going to be a lot better. We got a better equipped machine shop. Big thing is our old machine shop was also limited on the size of the components that we could make. Whereas this machine shop, we use them. The reason why we found them was we used them for a machine that the footprint of it was 8 foot by 8 foot by 8 foot. So they can do very large things. So we know no matter what we build in the future, they'll be able to take care of us. Now, to the fun part. Let's go over what we're showing off at MRRF. What is going to be the newfangled thing. If you look at this frame, and if you've ever dealt with a Daedalus, this frame looks very similar. Except, Lieutenant Dan doesn't have any legs. It's short. No Z-axis on this one. This is going to be our motion. This is just kind of show what we're doing differently. The Z motion is going to pretty much stay the same. But the big thing is, there's a Daedalus. This thing is the size of the Daedalus. This frame was built in the specs of the Daedalus, except for shorter. We did 200 mil Z extrusions instead of 6. But everything else is the same. All these crossbars are all the same. We did go down to 2020s in these tops because we wanted to be able to see more than less, right? So, but if you look at this, it kind of looks a little different, right? If we look down at it, that's a lot of belts. Why are there so many belts? Why are there so many motors? Boom. IDEX is coming to the Daedalus line. Really what this is Hack XY. One of the main guys who worked on Hack XY, we spoke to him in the past, back in 2019, back when we were doing the rail cores. And we were talking about trying to get the Hack XY in the rail core. But people in that group were very opposed to changes like that, so we're going to bring it here. We see the advantage of bringing IDEX into the Daedalus, especially it's also kind of our step into the Daedalus Pro that we'll be showing at MRRF. At MRRF, we'll have the Daedalus Pro, and that's going to be a 400 by 400 build volume, whereas this will still be in the Daedalus frame. Right now, the Daedalus is 310 by 300 by 345. And with this, we'll be able to maintain the 300 by 300 on X and Y. We're going to lose 10 mil, but I mean, it's 10 mil that we're willing to sacrifice. But that's 300 by 300 with each head and overlap. So you'll get a dual print zone of 300. You'll actually get a little bit of additional if we were to expand the bed. You do have about 350 mil of motion on each head. So one of the weird things are this rail here, which is on like the Daedalus, is a is a MGN12, whereas on this, let's see if we can zoom in a little bit so you guys can see it. This rail is much smaller at only an MGN9 standard. So the reason why we had to go with MGN9s is because we wanted to be able to get as much motion in X and Y as possible. Really in X, right? So the carriages on MGN9s are only about 30 mil wide. So we're able to move quite a bit of the way across this without compromising your print volume, right? So that was the big reason for that. We're actually going to move these in. I'm going to put 2 bolts in because I do not trust myself to not run this off the side. So right now it doesn't have the end stops on. Literally, I was going to do this build live, but I'm too much of a kid in a candy store type of thing, so I ended up doing it all last night. I think, Brandon, what time did I text you? Do you remember?
Probably 11:30.
No, when I sent the oh, maybe I didn't send it to you last night. Anyways, I wrapped this thing up at 4 a.m. And I think I sent it, I can't remember if I sent it to you or Joe Spanier, but sent it to someone. Yeah, and so what we're going to do is, this demonstration is actually going to be using only about 200 mil. Oh no, it uses 300. So we're actually pulling it in and we're still able to get 300 in motion. So what we've done to test this out was we used the bottom of an Apollo. Why? Because we have a bunch of Apollos already built. So, big thing is, this board has less power than a standard Duet 3, which a standard Duet 3 is what we would need for these. We would need a standard Duet 3 plus the 3 extension board. So, that's what's, what was that? That's what's different. So, this is why. Let me plug these in real quick. We'll power this up. And we'll have some fun. So we have 2 Y motors. So that's what these external motors are here. Let's switch it up to just overhead and see if this camera will cooperate. So this outside motor on both sides is your Ys. So you'll have 2 Y motors, so you're getting additional power, big time, right? On Core XY, we have the single motor, and they work together on Y. So you have 2 externals that are your Y. Your internals are this one. Let's move this out. So this one just moves our U axis, whereas this one over here only moves our X axis. So they are riding on the same rail, of course. So let's bring this back to the front. There are a handful of printed parts, spacers really, and our carriages right now are printed. That's what, because I got this done so quickly, I honestly didn't think I would. I'm going to make some changes to these printed parts. Make them more like what we would expect to make, but they're all going to be milled aluminum. So 6061 is what we're going to end up using for these parts. So let's move this to the, here, let me do this. I'm going to move this whole setup down here. Nope. Let's move. We'll just move this whole thing over. Okay. So I want you guys to be able to see what we're going to be doing here. So, grab my computer. First thing we're going to do is plug it in. Right.
Something went up with your audio here. I was listening through Discord.
Oh, what happened? Bad echo?
Yeah, I can hear myself, and then And it sounds like it's on the wrong mic now.
Yeah, let me try something. Still shows default. Maybe I unplug. Is it on? Is it still that way?
Noisy.
Huh?
It's really noisy.
It's noisy. Might need to work on it.
It was working fine earlier.
Yeah.
Now it's really bad.
Well, now mono.
That's worse.
Worse, okay. Turn that back on. I might need to change up my... yeah, I'm gonna have to work on the gates. But right now, we're only gonna kind of show this off for a minute, and then we're gonna probably... It's gonna be a short one, right? Just because we can't show too much. Because then you're not gonna come to Murph and look at it. It's gonna be so much cooler at Murph. So, let me turn you down in Discord so we can't hear you as much. I started you earlier because you were really quiet. Oh, I have another idea. I have a lot of noise going on in the shop right now. So, but...
Full robot too here.
What's that?
Full robot.
Ribbit?
Good.
How about now?
That helps.
Okay. I meant to turn it off earlier. And then I forgot. So, then we do have some machine ground behind this table, which doesn't help the situation. So, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of get this plugged in. Did I unplug my cord? Alright. A billion cords plugged in. Oh, had a billion cords plugged in, and apparently I unplugged them all. Like a dinkus. Alright. So, this is not how it's going to be at Murph. Literally, this was done at 4 a.m. And I got it to work to an extent here, right? I'm gonna move this up here. Maybe that'll help the situation. Alright, we're on. Lights on the power supply. Let's make sure we're connected. Right now it's called the Idicus, because Daedalus, IDEX. So it's not really IDEX, it's Hack XY, but you're gonna get the same concept. Funny thing is, we've been talking about doing a multi-head for a long time, right? We decided on this. We moved very quickly on this because really all it is a new top end. Everything else is kind of standard. We were able to figure it out, design it up, got parts made real quick. It's about 2 months in the work, I'd say. And then yesterday, the 14th, yeah, BC and Sigma announced that they're coming out with a Hack XY. It'll start shipping in September, which we expect this to be available at the end of September, which is hilarious. We are looking at pricing this just barely above the Daedalus because it does need an additional board, additional 2-stepper motors, additional belt and idlers. The most expensive part, strangely, is the shoulder bolts. But other than that, like, we don't plan on raising the price crazy. Especially since we just dropped the price on the Daedaluses a little bit because these new metal parts going with the new machine shop and the quantities we're buying at are parts. Let me go here. Oh, wrong screen. Going live. Okay. Our parts for metal were cut and we got double the parts for half the price and they were better. So we got a quarter of the price on the metal just because of the quantity we're buying at. So we were able to drop the price on the Daedalus. Also, the Daedalus no longer comes standard with the Raspberry Pi because the new Duet boards have Wi-Fi and Ethernet on them. So we didn't really need the Pi. The biggest driver for the Pi was the fact that it had Wi-Fi. Now, They have Wi-Fi built in, and the pies are an option for people who want to do things like we're working right now with a company called Print Nanny, trying to help them out get a print farm software for Duet up and running. That's the goal. It's the dream. But that's still very, very, very early. But the goal would be whatever hardware she needs, we'll be able to add into the machine for people who need the print farm software. We do have a handful of customers that have 30 plus printers that need like IC3D, and then we've got an automotive company that makes the brake boosters for a handful of automotive companies out in Ohio. And they have a handful of printers too. They have 32 of them now that will really benefit from this print farm software. So that's the pie, removing the pie, dropping the price of the metal. We've been able to drop the cost or the price on the Daedaluses, including the closed loop, $300. So before, the closed loop is a $500 add-on, just because you have two more boards, the motors are different, and a bunch of extra work tuning. Those are now almost the same price before as a standard open loop, so which is a big advantage. So what we're going to do is we're going to just move our X. That's boring, right? Let's zoom in a little bit. All right. See how boring this is? Boring. Boring. Let's move the Y. So what's crazy is when I move X, only that one motor is moving back there. When I move U, only that inside motor back there is moving. When I move Y, all four motors have to move to maintain these positions. So, which is, I don't know, it's super fun to me. But I'm nerdy like that. So let's move these out to here. Let's see if this runs. I've run it a couple times today. I've had an issue once, but I think I fixed it. Oh, and then let's run that again. X is just moving the full 300 mil. U moving 300 mil. X and U moving together. Full 300 mil. Both of those are currently running 300 mil. So we have more than enough overlap to allow us to get full 300 millimeter travel. This motion system was built with a specific hot end and extruder in mind. Until that is available, we also have some other. Oh, stupid! We also have some other options moving forward, so that depending on if that gets delayed, we do have two other options that are going to allow us to still push this printer out. And then it'll just give us more options long term. So one thing is we're looking at the LGX Lite from Bondtech. The LGX Lite with the Revo and the high flow Revos, right? That was the goal. But once this is like, you can always dream, you can always put stuff in CAD and stuff like that. But until you have the hardware in front of you, you can't really make those final decisions. And what we did see was we should be able to, if I remove, let's shut this back down real quick. If I remove this screw, the big thing is making sure your extruder doesn't go past this carriage, right? If we move this all the way to the end of this rail, let's make sure we're at the end. Right there's the end of the rail. The LGX, the LGX fits. The full-sized LGX fits. So we now have 3 options for extruders. The new one that's in development still, which hopefully we'll hear more about publicly in the near future. The LGX and the LGX Lite. The LGX Lite gives us a lot of extra room, whereas the LGX will give us just the right amount of room, right? So that's kind of the ideas there. But yeah, so this is going to be what we're showing at MRRF. The nice thing is this is drop into the Daedalus frames. So MRRF, we're showing this off. We expect to have this available in September or earlier, hopefully. Big thing is because this does move all the way over, the lead screws in the current Daedalus cause an issue. So we have a new Z-axis we're developing for this as well. The Z-axis is going to be very similar, except for new bed design. The lead screws are now going in the front 2 corners and the middle back, with a new yoke design and kinematics built in. 3-point or full kinematic couplings for the whole bed system. It will be standard moving forward. We're also going to be we're getting rid of acrylic once we start shipping the new ones. We're getting rid of the acrylic and we're moving to sheet metal on the entire printer. And that'll be for future stuff. But right now we wanted to get this motion system built and then beat up on it. We're going to hurt it a lot. We're going to try to break it in every single way. Now that we have the motion, for the most part, done, we can now dedicate time to finding the best way we want to make them standoffs. Do we want to SLS nylon them? Do we want to have them milled? Or because we're not going to keep them FDM printed, so that we have the nylon. We're going to have, it's going to be better in a heated or in a chamber that gets warm. We're going to start working more on the carriages now. We have a bunch of sketches. We have a bunch of designs for it. But we didn't put them on the machine. This is going to let us show at MRRF, and we're going to be able to start working on the print head situations, and then what we're going to do for them. So there's a couple ideas that we're going to try to throw at it, and we'll see what works. But for the most part, we're going to be sticking with Revos with the high flow, and then hopefully soon we're going to be getting some high temp Revos as well. That's the dream. So this is kind of the sneak peek of what's going to be there. And then if, Dub's going to be there? I miss you. What do you think of this motion system, good sir? So the big thing is with this as well is this is going to be able to be scaled up to the Daedalus Pro. Because we don't have nearly as much belt, we're going to be able to put this in the Daedalus Pro. Big thing is it's an IDEX. We've got our, but it's hack XY, so you get the benefits of Core XY plus IDEX in the same package. So the speeds of Core XY, we were able to get this up to, we got skipping on individual heads at 60,000 millimeters per minute, which is, 1,000 millimeters per second? No. Yeah, 1,000 millimeters per second. And Y, we were able to get 80,000, so well over 10,000 in motion. Just because we have the larger stepper motors that we currently use on the Daedalus, we have 4 of them now doing the same job. So that's going to be the big thing. So you're going to get a lot more speed. but also the goal is to have these better insulated than the Daedalus's. The Daedalus these will be the Daedalus 2.0s. Currently we're on Daedalus 1.5s. 2.0s are going to have I don't know if the IDEX will have closed loop. We'll have to try it out only because closed loop, they may fight each other a little bit too much, and then you're going to get a it's just going to shudder if they start fighting. So we will have this at least, and then what's the other big differences? Other big differences is we're going to have actual kinematics built into the motion system, or into the bed system. Main IDEX closed loop would be amazing, but yeah. Harmonics, yeah. So harmonics will be the biggest issue with that. But with I think we could do closed loop on individual heads because I don't think Y will need it just because of the additional power it's got in motion, whereas each head may need it. And we'll have to try it out and see how that works, but it's kind of up in the air to see how that works out, right? But yeah, we're going to be able to drop this directly into our Daedalus frame. So really what's going to happen is you're going to get the option of single head or IDEX. And then moving forward, it's just beating this up and making sure that it's good. We were expecting to take this whole month, but it took me 2 days to build this because it worked, which was crazy. Really what it is it's two Mark Forge motion systems sat on top of each other. So your normal Mark Forge is this, like one of these. We just mirrored it and stuck it on. Some other notable people who've done this were 3D Printing World did it with his Moldex. I have a kit here. I just haven't had a chance to build it yet. That's one thing I want to do. His is a little bit different than ours. Not much, but it is different. So, big thing is getting more parts milled. The first person probably getting this is Joe Spanier. Joe Spanier has been begging for this. Really, we were working on a 3-head printer to show. But that uses electromagnets, and that may never come to fruition just because electromagnets don't like the heat. And what's the point of having a printer that has 3 heads and stuff if you can't even heat up the chamber? So, Daedalus Pro, the big things we're working on with that are heated chamber, trying to get a higher temp bed, really. The goal, the dream, is to get what E3D did with their Mordor beds, to where we can get a 250 degree bed, which would be the dream. We'll see. That probably won't be by Earth because that's a process. But the big thing is the reason why Joe's getting this is because Joe's got a Daedalus already. I'll probably tell him I'm going to take it and put this on it. Because really the only big difference is going to be front idlers, back plates, and crossbar. And we can do that for him sooner than Earth, just so he can beat up on it. But, I mean, I really got to thank Adam for letting me procure the Big Orange Giant. Because, I mean, I hated IDEX, but that machine's fun. So Adam made me love IDEX again. And then working at IC3D helped me because IDEX was fun there too. So, yeah, the Rancor, I still run this thing like crazy. Right now I got to reach out to Adam once he settles down in the great, better country. Because the screen will restart, but then it doesn't actually give me the web interface, which sucks. But it gives me the Adams logo, which, I mean, that's all it's there for, right? Showing off Adam. But yeah, the Rancor is a beast still. The goal for that is to make some new hot ends for it. I need to get the milk crate running again so I can make some plates so that we can get the hot end running. Or getting some new hot ends. I want to get some LGXs put on it. Right now he's got all Chimeras. But they're the old Chimeras. And they don't even sell the old Chimeras anymore. So we can't even do anything with it. Like, you can't even buy a replacement. So it kind of sucks. And I want to get high flow on it. Right now it doesn't have any high flow. I do want to get some high flow on it. And of course, you know, Adam. Adam's great. Adam gives me things like this, which are all of the pins, all of the hardware extras he's had. So, luckily, when it comes time, I'll just be able to add a new hot end. I just got to mill some plates on there. That's what I want to get the milk crate back up and running for. But yeah, this is going to be a short stream tonight. Try to see if this stupid camera thing fixed. Clearly, it's not. This one didn't cut out at all, did it, Brandon? The front one? Hello? Brandon?
I think so.
Huh?
I don't think it has.
No.
I'm here.
So, yeah, just this top-down one.
I don't think it's cut out.
Yeah, I've been looking at some new cameras. Maybe it's the camera. I don't know. It bugs me. But, yeah, so this is kind of a short one to just make sure. I need to get back into the swing and like get into the swing of streaming. I keep saying that, but I just need to do it so people kind of know what we're working on. Especially with this. Also, Brandon and I have talked about making a... So we have the Apollo printers, but we have a lot of parts for the Apollos. And it's really hard to justify the Apollo to people who already have printers. They're really good for a print farm, for somebody who wants to just work on it. Elgato stayed online. Yeah, it's got to be the cable, and we've replaced the camera, the cable already, so it may be the camera. So the Apollos, it's kind of hard to justify for people who have. It's really hard to justify a bed slinger right now, just because of the P1Ps. So Brandon and I have been talking about making a kit out of the Apollo's parts, because it uses an MK3 bed, and we already have all that. We already have all the boards and all the power supplies and everything like that. We can make them pretty quickly. We were talking about doing it for MRRF, but you know, MRRF aspirations are a joke. But yeah. So that's kind of the deal with that. So at MRRF, the big thing at MRRF is going to be this. Hopefully we can show whatever we end up doing with the Apollo parts. We'll have Apollos there as well. I have this in a machine, and then the Daedalus Pro, which is this, just 100 millimeters bigger in X and Y. Oh yeah, I also mounted the, to make the cable shorter. We went from... I mean, I can offload an Apollo kit like that. That'd be easy. But yeah, we did shorten up the wires by moving the computer up there. So yeah, it's got to be the camera itself. So, but yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. It shows me what things we got to work on. I got to figure out this. Got to put a gate on this. Could have swore there was a gate on here before, but. Oh, right here. Edit filter.
I know I'm out of loop here, but the I think it has to do with the scenes, because when you switch scenes, we get two different audios.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, give me 1 second. And then noise suppression. This is why. How's this? Is this any better?
Switch scenes once.
But the noise itself. I got a noise suppression in it now and a gate. Or a gain.
It sounds the same.
Really? What about now? You're still getting that background noise though?
When you're on the overhead camera, you hear all the background noise.
That, I see it.
Almost like you're getting the audio from the
No, you're not. Yeah, I was. How about now?
There we go.
Yeah, a lot better. I had to switch this all up because I accidentally deleted something and Streamlabs doesn't let you just add it back in. I'm not that talented, so. But yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. Goal would be probably Tuesday next week. I don't know if Brandon's available for that. Brandino? Okay, so probably Tuesday next week, and then Thursday, Brandon will be on his way.
I should be up.
You'll be on your way on Thursday, and then we have MRRF next week. So come and check it out. It'll be at MRRF. I know you will. See you there, Colin. And we'll see you guys later. Have a good night.
Bye.